please explain what auxiliary providers are and why they're so important during a woman's pregnancy.
Yeah, auxiliary providers are all of the people that comprise the village of support during pregnancy. That's one way. So you always hear like it takes a village. It takes a village for a woman to have a successful pregnancy and to give birth and to raise a child. And so the auxiliary providers are all of these supplemental providers, the chiropractors, who help to make sure your pelvis is in alignment. Because a lot of us sleep poorly for most of our lives on one side, and then our hip is a little crooked. And then going to a chiropractor can help you so that your baby gets in the optimal position when it's time to push. Or if your baby is breech instead of vertex, a chiropractor can help you with positions to change that as well. An acupuncturist. So if you're suffering with something like anxiety or high blood pressure, before you jump to medications, it might be that your meridians could be a little bit more balanced with the help of acupuncture. Lactation consultants, for obvious reasons, to help with breastfeeding. These are auxiliary providers. Mental health therapists to help with perinatal mood disorders, because pregnancy brings a lot of changes emotionally, hormonally, and sometimes your partner doesn't quite understand, or that's outside of the scope of practice for your midwife even. So yeah, this the village.
So realistically, right, a lot of people don't have a village while giving birth. So like, are there any artificial supports? I don't know how to say it. Like, if you don't have that support system, like family and friends, is there any other area you can go to get that support system to heighten the success of your pregnancy?
Yeah, like you mean if you don't have it like in your own immediate community? Sure. Like in Philadelphia alone, there's like the maternal wellness village. I have Inner Circle Midwifery and the Doula Collective. And so we are usually a group of women typically who have different specialties and expertise that once you kind of get in the door with one, we spread our arms out to all of the other resources that we have in our network that we can provide you with. Yeah.
And the last thing I want to touch on is maternal crisis, right? Why do you think so much of our women die during childbirth?
Yeah. Like I said, pregnancy is a very intense process on the body that taxes the immune system, and stress is also, challenged in the immune system. And so if you have all of these subtle forms of stress in the world around you, whether it's economic stress, stress of discrimination and racism, and you're also trying to grow a human being, it just really weathers your body more than the person who doesn't have to deal with that level of stress. And Black women, we are disproportionately affected by society in a negative way. And so I think that plays a role in our outcomes. And I don't just think it, I know it through studies, right? Because they've done things to look at like, well, is it genetics? But when they go back and they look at women in Africa, they don't deal with the same types of outcomes that we deal with here, right? And a lot of it has to do with racism and the cumulative effects of racism on our body and our immune system.
What can we do to reduce the amount of deaths during childbirth?
We can take this process of birth a lot more seriously and take our health seriously, not just when we get pregnant, but if you have a daughter or if you're a young woman or young women, to encourage them to start thinking about their diet at a young age. Also to put them in healthy environments, or to not stigmatize mental health. Like, if someone needs support, to encourage them to get the support that they need from the time that they are young adults, so that they can kind of approach relationships better, approach their own health better, so that when they are reproducing, that they're coming from an advantageous point.
What are some of the issues you have witnessed people running into who get pregnant at a young age?
Yeah, I want to say this. I want to clarify this. I don't think that I am as concerned with the age. There are obviously biological realities that affect people over the age of 35 and under the age of 17 with pregnancy. But I don't think anybody should necessarily be getting pregnant if they are not prepared mentally, financially, emotionally, because you could be 35 and unprepared to have a baby. You could be 30 and unprepared to have a baby. You could be 18, 19 in a very stable relationship, and it seems like an appropriate thing for you to do is to have a baby. But biologically speaking, under the age of 17, your body is not fully developed yet. Like most young women who are just kind of in their menstrual, like they're just starting their menstrual cycles, they tend to have lower iron levels, and your body demands a lot of iron and blood for you and for the baby. And so younger moms tend to have higher rates of anemia. And anemia, while it can be treated, it can affect breastfeeding. It can affect how you respond to blood loss. It can affect the baby's health. Also, there is a higher chance of the baby being a low birth weight. There's a higher chance of the baby coming too early. There's a higher chance of the baby having a low APGAR score, which means that they don't transition well once they're out of the womb. And then not to mention, you know, you haven't reached your highest level of education. And so your ability to actually take care of a newborn and give that baby the best possible outcome is inhibited.
Earning potential.
Yeah, earning potential. Like, what can you actually provide for a child if you yourself are not educated in a stable situation? So there's lots of reasons to avoid pregnancy as a very young woman.